Welcome to Money Matters. I'm DCrowell from Mortgage Network, and the markets and the real estate market, the interest rate market is very exciting this week. We are seeing the interest rates start to slowly sneak up again. We have gone from last week at 3.99% to this week at 4.125%. It's a small change, but it's an indicator. We are finding that that for $100,000, that would represent approximately $25 a month additional payment. For $200,000, $50, $300,000, $75. So just to keep things in perspective, it's not enough to keep anybody out of the market. It's not enough to cause major changes in plans, but it's an indication. We have seen also in our real estate markets from Maine to Florida, where Mortgage Network is a major player in 30 markets from Maine to Florida. We've seen inventories tightening very, very swiftly. So perhaps the biggest story in real estate finance is not about the money itself, which, although it's getting slightly more expensive, is not getting a whole lot more expensive. The big story in real estate finance is really about the prices of properties and the availability of housing inventory. In Greater Boston, in the cities in Connecticut, in Virginia, Northern Virginia, just south of Washington, D.C., the various cities in which we participate in Charleston, South Carolina, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. What we're seeing right across the board is a tightening of inventory. More people are coming into the housing market. We, as a Mortgage Network, is for the past 90 days at a record level of pre-qualifications. These are people who have come to us, had a sit down, put all of their financial papers on the table, and received in return a pre-qualification letter to go searching for a property. To rehash, we're doing a record number of such pre-qualifications, really from Maine to Florida. Those folks are finding it more and more difficult to find a home because the inventories are tight. Some examples. In the Boston area, in Greater Boston, the towns outside of Boston within a half-hour commute, 45-minute commute, 1-hour commute around Boston, there are 30, in some cases 40 bids for the same property. We're seeing in the Mount Pleasant market, properties come on the market and leave the market within 3 or 4 or 5 business days, and usually with 2 or 3 or 4 offers submitted. This is the obvious result of this kind of much more feverish activity is higher prices. Sellers will be able to hold out for and achieve slightly higher pricing. How much higher? It's unknown. The markets are extraordinarily fickle in this respect. Sometimes a disappointed buyer will pay more. Sometimes a disappointed buyer will simply be disappointed and refuse to pay more. So there's no absolute rules that can be drawn from it. We additionally, in this area, in the Hilton Head and Bluffton area, we're seeing demand more quickly satisfied by major home builders who have come from all over the nation into the Bluffton, Okatee, Ridgeland markets, and who are building very nice houses at very competitive prices. One of our local major builders, Village Park, are reporting record sales. So is another one of our partners, D.R. Horton. And every indication is that the busyness in this market, the busyness in the market that ranges anywhere from $200,000 to $500,000, is going to remain very busy. The money is available. The money remains at very near record lows, and the housing stock is being supplied by competent national home builders. The local builders are also the local custom builders are also extraordinarily busy. You know, the fellas that and women who build 2 houses a year, up to 10 or 15 houses a year in that mid-range. They are also extraordinarily busy, frequently having timelines that stretch out 18 months to 2 years in advance. Every indication is that the housing market is going to continue to flourish, and the tightness of inventory is simply one of the indicators. Now, there are all sorts of interesting sidelights on all of this. Housing inventory in Hilton Head, for example, the existing inventory, the houses that are already built and that can be bought, many of them need renovation. Many of them were built in the 70s and 80s and need fairly extensive updating. So what appears to be a simple purchase of from a seller to a buyer of a home that's ready to go into service is really more complicated than that, because that buyer has a remodel in mind that may take several months and $50,000 or $100,000 or $150,000 or $200,000, depending on the neighborhood and the extent of the remodel. This makes it, for statistical purposes, the purchase of a home, but it also is accompanied by a construction project, which in turn puts additional pressure on the construction industry. So the story in this part of the world, not entirely, but certainly one of the big stories in this part of the world for the next period of time, is most certainly going to be the availability and capacity of our construction community to be able to meet the needs not only for new houses or for fancy custom design single family homes, but also for remodels and renovations, which are running at an all-time high. The other kind of interesting sidelight on all of this is that we've had a very poor market since the recession for lots. Lot sales have been sluggish, non-existent after the recession, and then sluggish in the last 2 or 3 years, increasing, getting better. But now you're going to see those lots begin to be snapped up. There isn't a big inventory in the Hilton Head area. There is a much bigger inventory off island, but certainly in the Hilton Head market, there isn't a huge number of available lots. They just haven't been selling. So now what you're going to begin to see is those lots are going to be more and more snapped up. The third category in the Hilton Head market has always been condominiums. Condominiums have rebounded, and the prices are by no means yet excessive, but they're certainly much healthier than they've been in the past years. Anyone who's listening to this who has friends from out of town who are waiting for their chance to buy a condo on Hilton Head as a second home or as an investment property, they would be very wise to make their move now. Nice condominiums are beginning to show definite signs of price increase. So there's the snapshot on the Hilton Head real estate market as it relates to the financial market, and look forward to talking to you very soon. Bye-bye.